see? It was kind of a little bit off balance in the last one, but that's all right. Now you're going to go sideways. Watch now. I like the second one better than the first one. There was more directional in it. Good. Here we go. One more time. No, too low. Second one's okay. See, it come back in one straight line. Here we go again. Now watch this illustration. You gotta exaggerate the bringing of the leg back. You see, back. Okay, watch it again now. You see, exaggerate the pulling of the leg back. Make it look much more faster and more forceful. Watch this now. I like the naturalness of your kick. Watch this now. You see, at the end, there was really the feeling there, you know?
Hey, good. Get your back jumping up and down. Hey, good. Nice one. Good. One more. Let's move everything. Really good. You want to. I see you're happy.
How can I be so well coordinated? That means you have to be an athlete. That means you got to have jogging and all this basic ingredient, right?
Well, my dad made a point at the time that he was training that there were a lot of martial artists who weren't paying enough attention to their instrument, you know, and certainly the instrument of the body is what you're going to be using in your practice of the martial arts. So I think it's very important to keep up the tempo, so to speak.
I'm interested in that point you reach where you actually fail from exhaustion at something, whether it's a weight training exercise or a cardiovascular exercise. I'm interested in seeing just how much that point is a physical point and how much it's a mental point. And so that's what I do. I jump a lot of rope, I run, I ride a life cycle. I much more prefer to go out and actually ride a bicycle or run and, you know, see some scenery. And then I work out down at the academy, which is on some levels a very cardiovascular workout. Some of the classes I take, like the Muay Thai kickboxing classes, a hell of a cardiovascular workout.
Yeah.
And then some of the classes are more technique oriented, so you're not huffing and puffing so much as you are just learning individual techniques. And then I work out at the weightlifting gym, where I do 2 body parts a day, pretty much, and then I break that up occasionally. So I do like back and biceps on one day, chest and triceps on another day, or something else, and delts and legs on the third, or something like that. And it was just switch it. I found that was generally the best thing to do, whether it was with a high weight or a low weight. And what I understood the process to be was that working with heavy weights would build mass, whereas working with low weights was intended to build like density and really carve out the muscle a lot more. And since I personally have never been interested in getting large as much as just getting cut, I tended to work with a lower weight. But then to me, getting cut is also mostly a question of vascularity. It has to do with how much body fat you're carrying. So I've always done a lot of cardiovascular work because that's also real world power too. I mean, I suppose it's good if you want to pick up heavy objects to have large muscles, but cardiovascular stamina is something that seems to come in handy a lot more often than a large muscle would. You go down to the academy and you try and do a 3-minute round on the Thai pads, I don't care how big your muscles are, if you don't have a real good cardiovascular system, you're going to be dead in about 45 seconds, and I'm still going to be going.
Now, you want to kick it when it's coming to you?
I'll try it.
You let your foot jam. Drive the sucker. You're pushing. Okay, now, Jim, go and kick a beanbag and give me the thrust the sucker to Kingdom Hearts. Oh, now, Jim, face the sucker. Now, I'm gonna, you are cutting your half now. That's okay.
How's that?
Beautiful. No, I mean, I want you to be half of it. You're still kicking a little bit off to the side. Kick him directly now. Good. Now don't kick it again, but don't turn your body so much when you finish. Try to still face him when you finish. Good. Now kick the sucker when he comes back. Not yet, not yet. That's
During this time period, we used to train because we didn't have any Thai pads, so Sifu Bruce advocated the use of using the football forearm guard, and which we don't use this anymore, but this was very prevalent during that time period. This here is the original punching shield, that his own personal punching shield, in fact. This was used as in the Way of the Dragon. If you notice this, he had one part. I had one arm, he had the other arm, and this was used in that picture, Way of the Dragon. This was used in Enter the Dragon. This was actually, its original use is actually used for baton training in Japan, and we just modified it, and we used a special helmet, a boxing headgear we had, and we used it, and this became part of our training, some of the training tools that we use when we used to spar.
Literally, on television, they had to shoot it, they had to overcrank and shoot it in slow motion because otherwise it just looked like a special effect when he moved. I mean, the man was fast. He was deadly fast. I've really never encountered anyone in all of my training since who was as fast.
You can certainly train for speed. I think that training for speed is, number one, it's a genetic factor. Yeah, certainly. There are some people who are just gifted. They are fast naturally. But I think training for speed, on the whole, is a question of muscle memory. Speed in an individual movement is something that, I mean, we're coming down to, thousandths of a second now. If you and I, or even if I and some completely untrained person were to stand side by side facing a focus pad, and when a red light blinked, both flick out a jab, I'd probably win by a couple hundredths of a second. But once you're talking about speed with repetition of movements, to be able to go like that, that's muscle memory. An untrained person would be like, they would falter in their movements because they haven't trained their muscles, or they haven't trained their perception as well to be able to react quickly to a variety of different circumstances.
Martial art is a combative form of the art of expressing the human body. You have to train yourself into it. I mean, you better train every part of your body, keeping the continuity going, bending, stretching, everything. You just keep it moving. See, the idea is running water never grows stale. So you got to just keep on flowing. When the opponent expands, I contract. And when he contracts, I expand. And when there is an opportunity, I do not hit. It hits all by itself. To me, at least the way that when I teach it, all type of knowledge ultimately means self-knowledge. So therefore, they're coming in